guys are situated, go ahead and lay all the way back. Make your body comfortable. Start to let a couple of good deep breaths flow. Imagine each breath is a cleansing, clearing breath. It's like we're creating space. Any gunk that's been going on in our life recently, this is a space kind of separated from any of that. A space where we're safe, we're together. Just enjoy another huge breath in and out. As we're preparing to get started, the word that I'm very grateful for today is peace. So that's the word that we're working with today. But it's interesting because you look around and it's hard to find peace, especially speaking on a worldwide level. That's definitely hard to find. But even looking at how we teach children, we teach them games that are competitive. We have them learn how to debate so that they can win an argument. And we teach them sports that make there be a winner and a loser. And in those types of environments, it's naturally setting ourselves up for not having peace, for having conflict constantly and being upset when you're the loser or bragging when you're the winner. There is a tribe in Australia I was reading about that they do their games that they teach to children in a very different way. Their games are more cooperative. Winning, in a sense, is various ways of cooperating and working together really effectively to create cool, amazing things together, instead of there being just a winner and a loser, like every board game that we have. And so just these different ideas I wanted us to think about in relation to peace, and especially the words of kindness and compassion. I think those are two of the keys to start increasing peace within our own system and within our own community, is by developing more kindness and compassion. So you'll see there'll be different points where maybe we'll hold in a strengthening pose, taking some conscious breaths to dedicate some breaths to various people, whether we're stretching or strengthening. You'll see we'll play with different things. But to get us started here with peace, connection, compassion, kindness, let's begin to take the knees into the chest. With the knees inward, let's take some easy movements for the low back. Easy movements for the hips, a chance to kind of tune into those areas. And breathe. If the sacrum and hips are having any struggles, a chance of kindness for that area. Good. The first thing we're going to do is a very kind, compassionate thing. We're helping any tight neck stuff going on. So first, start off by dropping the feet back down, kind of close to the glutes, and just grab onto your strap. With our strap, we're going to put the strap around the back of the head so that the head doesn't have to have any muscular effort. Rather, it's arm strength that lifts the head up. So chin is brought to chest, the back of the neck is stretching. Because the head can completely relax back, it does elongate the muscles of the neck. So give this spot a couple of breaths. It's also a gentle way to start warming up the arms and the hands. And it may feel nice to start to tilt the head around. So maybe the right hand goes a little bit further and that tilts the head to the left. Then tilting the left hand further and that goes to the right. Notice how this is almost like a horse race, one going further and then the other. But because the whole system is connected, it's not about winner or loser. It's about the whole system getting a really good stretch because of it. So maybe one more time, left and right. And back through the center, drop the head down. We can set the strap off to the side. Notice how the fingers are a little bit more warmed up now. That's perfect. Let's take a couple of bridge poses. So hands on the floor by the hips. With our inhale, roll the hips up one vertebrae at a time. With our exhale, roll back down. Take a few rounds of breath like that. Slow inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Take 3 more rounds. Here's 3. Eventually when you're heading up, and then relax down. Heading for 2. And on this last one, stay lifted a bit longer. Maybe hands can clasp behind the back. If so, walk the shoulders under. From this high spot, we're going to pause and breathe, like I mentioned, some of those compassionate breaths. So first, breathe a breath for yourself, compassion for yourself. The next breath is compassion for somebody who's having trouble breathing right now. And one more breath, maybe someone that you're having a challenge with right now. Good. After that third breath, release the grip, roll the spine back down. Let's begin to hug the right knee into the chest. Slide left leg long. Let the left leg still be on the ground for a little while. And just see how much this right knee wants to be invited inward to shoulder. It's like we're having compassion for that little child that gets called last at the sports activities. Good. Release the hands, slide that right leg long. Take the left knee in, give it a good hug. Beautiful. And from here, leave that left knee in, but scoop up the head. Weight of the head picked up by the hands. We're going to twist right elbow to the left knee. Right leg floats above ground. And then switch. Easier is a higher angle with the legs. Harder is lower. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the head down. Scoop up your block. Resting the feet on the ground. Let's do a couple more bridge poses, this time with the block in between our thighs. That'll give us something to squeeze inward to remind those inner thigh muscles to stay active. So from here, inhale, scoop up. Exhale, roll down. Few rounds like that. Inhale. Exhale. Let's try to continuously go for 10. And down. Don't forget about the block. We're squeezing the whole time. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Still keep the block there, but now hips are resting on the ground. So from here, hands come right back behind the head again. And let's do some circular crunches. So circle to the right, up and left, down, and reverse left. Switching each time the circle direction. It's not necessarily about speed. It's about trying to get as much of your back off the ground as possible. Let's do 3 more each direction. 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1. Release the hands. Walk the feet a little bit further forward, still squeezing into block. Leave left foot on the ground, still squeezing into block, right leg straightens out. From that position, arms are going to sweep up overhead with inhales. Exhales, arms flap like a bird, and we try to lift as much of the back off the ground as possible, and then return back down. Let's try to go for 9, 8, 7, 6. Good. Grabbing onto thighs, totally fine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Drop that foot down with the block still in thighs. Take a few windshield wipers. Slightly different positioning than normal. Feel how it might help to pull that sacrum even longer. Pull some spaciousness in the low back and hips. Good. And then when we're back up top with the knees, left leg lengthens out. Arms up overhead, inhale. And circle out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Go ahead and remove the block. Let's use our strap for a little stretch after that. So the right ball of foot can go into the strap. Let this leg stretch up to sky. And begin to circle the strap around the wrist so that way you're not using quite as much just finger strength. So try to straighten the leg out as much as possible. If you're able to feel the leg in a pretty good stretch, but you want more, slide left leg long. And then from here, it's continuously just trying to pull this leg a little bit closer with every exhale. Just relaxing here for a few good breaths. One more huge inhale. Nice exhale. And we're going to start switching it out. If the fingers need a break, wiggle them in between. And when you're ready for left foot to step in, go right ahead. Setting up every little thing. So first the legs trying to straighten out as much as possible. If you want more, right leg slides back long. And perhaps each exhale is inviting the leg a little closer. Stretching the muscles out in between our strengthening things is actually really useful, and making sure that the muscles accumulate themselves, build themselves up in the way that makes long, lean muscles. So rather than the bulky muscles, kind of like a bodybuilder that just stick out, but yet there's no flexibility. Instead, these are functional muscles that can be long and strong. Another good breath, let it flow in and out. Leave this leg up, but set the strap off to the side. We're going to do some straight leg switches. So you're welcome to do the first couple with the hands helping out. So hover right leg above ground. And then when right leg comes up, left leg lowers. If after a couple you want to increase difficulty, release hands entirely. It's just strength of legs during the switches. You have control. Breaths continuously flowing. Here's 10 and 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You can always take breaks if needed. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bending the knees, we're going to plant them back in bridge pose, but this time we're taking our block and putting it under the feet. So you'll have to play with how far or close that block needs to be. Try to find the spot that feels pretty solid. You can push off of it. So this will make our bridge poses lift our hips even higher. So whenever you're situated, hands on the floor, use your inhales to rise. Exhales to lower all the way down, those extra inches. Keep on breathing. We're going to do another 5, staying high at the 5th one. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stay high. Maybe hand clasp if you can reach. Similar to before, taking a couple of breaths for various people. Breaths of patience, kindness, compassion. Let's do one for ourselves. A breath for someone we hold very dear, someone we love so much. We want to talk with them every day. And a breath for someone who's struggling in their life. Good. Release the hands, roll the hips back down. Let's cross our right thigh over our left thigh. And then invite the thighs into the chest. If we can grab onto each ankle, try to find that grip. So rather than figure 4, this one's even more tightly crossed, grabbing onto ankles. Good. Now that nice space near the glute that we were just working on. It feels like you're not quite into the stretch very much. Arm strike to pull the legs a little closer gets you there. Imagine here we're breathing compassion to someone who is struggling with their hip. Maybe they just recently had hip replacement surgery or something. Breathing for them. And spreading the arms open left and right. Let's leave the legs crossed and the legs take a twist over to left. Here we can breathe compassion towards somebody who is struggling with back mobility. Maybe they got into an accident and eventually they had to fuse their spine together. Breathing compassion toward those that are limited in this range of motion. Returning hips back down. Let's uncross and recross with the left thigh over. Then take the ankles into each hand again. Compassion for ourselves. Maybe for different times in our lives when we weren't stretching and moving. And so we got really tight. Maybe we still feel that residual energy, maybe not. Maybe it was long distant in the past. But compassion for that point in our life when maybe we didn't move as much as we could have. Spreading arms open. Crossed legs fall over to right. Maybe here compassion for somebody who's grieving something. Breathing space into that grief for them. So that their grief doesn't have to get stuck in their spine and continuously suck energy. Imagine, if possible, we're breathing for it. Good. Returning hips back to ground, uncross the legs. Let's scoot the block into our hands. Legs point up to sky. Arms are up overhead. Briefly drop the legs down. You choose how far. And then when the legs come back up, switch the block into the legs, whether it's feet or calves. Then lower arms and legs away from one another. You choose the amount. Back up to switch into hands. We're switching the block back and forth each time. The speed, the pace is really up to you. You follow your inhales and exhales each time you come up above your body. Compassion if you drop your block, it's all good. We all have those days. It's like coordination doesn't happen. It's all good. It's a pretty challenging one. See if you can do another 5 each. So 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2. Super hard, you're doing awesome. 2, 1, 1. Good work. We're going to take another bridge pose, this time trying to get block to medium height. So get it kind of placed there, and then use your feet to adjust the placement until it's just at that right spot that you could put some weight onto it without the block toppling over. Find the spot of your foot that's going to work. Maybe it's heels today, maybe it's closer to ball of foot today. Just find that spot where it balances a little bit and you put some pressure. When you're ready, inhale, hips lift up. Exhale, roll back down. With even more distance, maybe the breath is going longer than the other bridge poses here. Always, always take breaks in class if needed. That's us listening to our body. If this is still doing okay, let's do 5 more. Here's 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Stay lifted just a little bit longer. A breath for yourself. A breath for a family member. A breath for somebody who's going to be lonely next this coming Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. Good. Roll back down. Let's do 1 more and then we'll take a little break. So free out that block. We're going to put block on left thigh held up with left elbow. The side squeezes together. That engages that left side body, that part of the waist. Right arm and leg stretch away from one another. And exhale, touch. Let's do that again. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep squeezing into block. 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch the block. Last one's on our back here. When you're ready, push into block and then reach out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Remove the block off to the side. Whatever way you want to get up, let's come up to seated. Settling into cobbler when you get there. Take your time. You can make it. So give yourself patience as the back muscles start to relax up and over. They've been flat on the ground up to this point, so it's different to get them to take a little stretch over. Give some breaths there. If your head dips far enough that you could slide your block in and place your forehead down in a resting way, feel free to take that option. If you're nowhere close, no pressure. Just whatever feels good. From here as the spine lengthens up, let this left foot be tucked in, right leg lengthens out. We'll take a forward fold. If you'd like to use your strap for this, you're welcome to hook around that foot. And then start to release forward. It's not so much about the spine getting into a rounded shape, like the head dropping forward. It's more about just continuously playing with this, where whatever angle we're at, we lengthen our spine up. And then from that length, we tilt the straight spine forward. As you pause for a breath or two there, you'll start to notice, maybe as the muscles relax, from that spot you can lengthen up even more. And then tilt forward from that angle. So we'll gradually ease our way down just a little bit longer on this half. This is a very compassionate way to head into a forward fold. There's people that I know that have forced a crazy position like the splits way before they were ready for it. They hardly ever stretched at all. And you can just feel in your body like that how stressed it is on the ligaments, the tendons, how they can easily injure themselves. So this compassionate way of heading forward is more about listening. So take one more breath for this half. Nice exhale. Let's free out this foot. Switch legs out. Same gentle approach. Sometimes this leg is super different, so lengthen from whatever angle you have and see if that straight spine can tilt. Sometimes I'll pause for a breath or two before I re-lengthen again. Actually, good length and tilt. Maybe another good time, length and tilt. Nice inhale. Exhale. Let's go ahead and free out the strap. We're going to be placing the block right under our hips. Place it at the medium height, the one that has the greatest distance here, or the small height. So it'll be that way underneath you. Small makes you have to dip a little bit lower, so your choice. But you'll have the hands underneath you. What we're going to do from the block in this spot, it's kind of like lifted up like a little needle. We're going to lift hips up and then dip the right hip to touch. Lift hips up, dip the left hip to touch. And 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Try to stay lifted above the block. Try not to touch, and then elbow dips, getting into triceps. 10, 9. You can always quit early if you need. 8, 7, 6. Try not to touch block if you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Set down. Remove the block. Shake the wrists out. Like, I haven't used those muscles in a while. Go ahead and take a stop sign hand with one hand, and then all the fingers and thumbs get pulled back by the other hand. Good. Point down. Pull back that way. And left. or whichever one you're on, and down. Good. Both wrists roll, or even shake if that feels better. Okay, with our block, we're gonna put it out in front of us, pressing into each of the edges. The elbows are wide so that when we press, it engages the pecs and the biceps, all sorts of these good arm muscles. So pressing directly into the block. At first it's about belly button height. Keep the shoulders relaxed, the neck tall. Continuously pushing into block. Start to lift the block slowly to the high point. Depending on your shoulders, that might be above crown of head or it might be forehead height. Slowly up. Remember, you're continuously pushing, elbows wide. Good. Once you're at your tall spot, start to go back down to belly. On breathing, that's the biggest key here. If possible, we're going to try to go 2 more rounds like that. Keep on pressing. It's a lot of the mental game, so just keep breathing. You know that there's hard things you've been through before. Maybe you've run a marathon. Maybe you've taken care of a stubborn kid. I don't know. There's hard things that life will throw at us. This is one of those. We're getting there. Just keep breathing. Okay, this last time, when we come to our high spot, pause for a few bonus breaths. And if you can, push any harder for a couple of breaths. Push as hard as you can. One more breath for yourself. Now keep on pressing. Lower it back to the low spot one more time. At the low spot, this is the last run, the final stretch. Push as hard as you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Release. Let's grab onto our strap. Grip your strap super, super wide. And what we're going to do is work through our shoulder mobility. If your shoulders have injuries, don't go all the way back. But as you come up, if you feel it tight, rather than bending elbows to get it past, try to just slip wider until the point where you can go all the way down. Another circle to return. Sometimes after that first cycle or two, it gets easier, so you can inch your fingers a little closer. This next time that we're in a figure Y behind us, pause for a few breaths. That's one of our tight spots, so try to breathe. And then as we drop it down, release for a moment, let the head roll to one shoulder, to the other shoulder. And then through the center to roll up. One last cycle as we return. This time, leave it at that spot kind of behind the shoulders. That's a new tight spot. 2 or 3 breaths. Breathing compassion for yourself, for someone you love, for someone who's hard to get along with. And complete the circle. Good. As you finish, release, let the head do another roll or 2 to each shoulder. Good. We're almost done. We'll do just a couple more strengthening things and then just good stretches to wrap us up. Let's take a boat pose using our block. With our block, we're going to touch the block to the floor on one side, and then with our inhale, we lift up, exhale, touch the floor to the other side. Note that if you grip higher, you don't have to twist as far. If you grip lower, you have to go a lot further. So you have the choice of the difficulty here. So when you're ready, take your boat and exhale to touch. Inhale, center. Here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set the block right about where your feet level was. Hands can be on the floor or not to make it harder. What we're going to do is touch to one side, touch to the other side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. It's all good. Compassion to yourself. 1 and relax. Good work. Okay, I think we've earned it. We're good. I feel like I think I got it. I'm toast now. We're good. So what I want us to do is take this block and we're going to sit on it. So I like to just go that nice medium height. For me, that works really well. It's stable and it gives me some good height to do a malasana pose. So with your malasana, you don't want the spine to be super rounded. So if the feet need to inch forward at all to help you sit up, go right ahead. We're pushing our elbows into our knees and straightening the spine up. And so from this hip opening, let's do a couple of easy motions for our neck again. So let's drop our right ear to right shoulder and pause. Slowly roll the chin down to chest and pause. Roll the left ear over to left shoulder. Back down, chin to chest. Now as the head rises up from the seated malasana, leave your left leg, your right leg's gonna slide out long, and we're gonna create 3 stretches in one. So the first part of the stretch is the hip opener. Left hand pushes the left knee open. The second part is the spinal twist, twisting toward your straight leg. And then the third part is hamstring stretch, leaning toward that straight leg. So 3 in 1. Don't forget about the hip getting pushed open as you lean down. The hand can be on shin. You can have hand on the side to help you balance, whatever feels good. Now as spine rises up, scoop up the backside of that right knee to slide the foot in. Slide the left leg out. Remember all 3 parts. So push against right knee, twist to the straight leg, and then hamstring stretch, lean forward. One more huge breath in and out. Spine eases up. Slide this foot back in. Both feet will be in front of us. We're going to transition toward a bridge pose where the block is under our hips. So if you're toward the back of your mat, scoot with your seated position closer toward the foot of the mat. That'll make sure that you have some space for your back behind you. You can get into this way, just kind of as you're resetting the block to be on the sacrum, you just lower to elbows, then sliding elbows out, you come onto your back, or you can just go into bridge pose and slide it under. But make sure the block ends up right under the hips. For the first part, you could go to tall height. That'll be with one leg stretching out at a time. But for the second part, when both legs are out, usually it's a lot harder to have the block at the tall height. So medium, small if you don't want to adjust, or you could try tall just for the first part. From here, right leg slides out on the floor, sliding out long. You should be feeling the front part of that right hip flexor stretch. That's the psoas area. This stretch kind of pops that muscle out into the longer shape. So this muscle group does a lot of the leg lifting, like when we did the straight leg switches, things like that. So giving this time, space, breath. Two more cycles of breath for this side. Then we'll gradually start to switch. Take this foot in and slide the second foot out. Slide this foot in for a moment. That'll give you an opportunity if you want to change the block height before both legs go out. If you want to test the waters first, slide both legs out and just see if you like the height. It gets kind of intense if you're at tall height for this one, but you can if you want to try it. You can go medium, you can go small. Maybe if it's comfortable, the arms even open out so it's like a big X on the ground. Arms and legs out wide. And just feel how this pose helps to counter a lot of the hunched forward positions we tend to take in our society, sitting in chairs a lot. So if you need to come out early, you always can, but if you can handle a couple more breaths, slow, easy breath cycles. Then walking the feet in. Use the hands to help remove the block. Usually when I remove it, my sacrum's a little tender. So I'll usually do a little dance. I'll either kind of jiggle my sacrum into the ground, or I'll take windshield wiper type motions, or even just hug knees into chest and rock. So take some of these things. Imagine this is kindness and compassion to the sacrum. It's like we just did a chiropractic move. So this is the completion of that move, is here rocking that sacrum back to flat. Compassion on that sacrum that's tilted for us as we've, carried our body in different ways through our life. Continue to do these movements until sacrum is super happy with you. And then if there's last stretches you want to take them. Take any last things that feel good for the body as you're eventually heading towards Shavasana. No rush to get there. It's no rush to be in Shavasana. Some of us will be wiggling a little bit longer. Nothing wrong with that. Your Shavasana is the one that feels best for you, even if the knees stay bent or whatever. And as we start to settle into the meditative portion, as we're wrapping up, imagine that the breath is kind of like a little kid. Little kids want a ton of attention. And sometimes we ignore the little kid because we need to do something else. Imagine that our breath is that little kid. We've ignored our breath for the majority of our life. And so what if the little kid is acting up right now and it just wants a little bit of attention from you? So can we have kindness and compassion toward our breath for being with us, even if we weren't with it? And how present can we be with this breath for just a couple more minutes together? Here, begin to deepen the inhales, the exhales. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretch in ways that feel really good for your body. Eventually taking a fetal position to one side if you wish. Doing a few bonus breaths. Maybe 3 or 4 good cycles until you feel ready to rise sooner or later. Here, with hands on our heart, let's take a breath of compassion and kindness for ourselves. Breath for someone who can't breathe for themselves right now. A breath for someone who's suffering and needs it. Us continuously connecting with compassion and kindness, we recognize our internal world and maybe eventually our external world begins to become a little bit more peaceful. And so with these ideas to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.